one. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phil's Place. Got a very good friend that I grew up with. I've known since the 1980s. His name is Joey Waslousky. He is not just a drummer, but he's one of Pittsburgh's premier drummers. Plays in numerous bands, does numerous gigs, and we're going to get into, everything that he does. Okay, we're going to talk about the drum kit he uses. We're going to talk about his history of playing. We're going to get into all those details. And this is going to be a great episode. And speaking of Joey, we just talked about this before we went on air. The sponsor for this episode and for numerous episodes is SNS Climate Systems. Our good friend from high school, Frank Sinatra, not the Frank Sinatra from Hoboken, New Jersey, that everybody knows. Our Frank Sinatra, who is also legendary, like the Frank Sinatra. And he owns this HVAC company. And what happens is, Joey, say, for example, you're at home and your air conditioning unit just goes out on you. You're going to call Frank's company, SNS Climate Systems. The number is 412-660-5563. And a member of his team is going to come out and do an assessment, give you recommendations. Do you need a new unit? Is it a simple fix? And, Joey, he also does commercial. He doesn't just do residential. He does commercial. So it could be a restaurant. It could be whatever with a big walk-in refrigerator or freezer. If there's an issue, they can go and assess and give recommendations and go ahead and go in for the fix. But anyway, this is Frank's business. He's very good at it. I've been golfing with him, Joey, whenever he gets a call, and he goes from golfer to HVAC mindset just like that. And
I haven't seen him in a long time, but I definitely remember Frank. Yeah.
Frank's one of our best. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you, Frank, for sponsoring this episode. Fellow Montour High School graduate. We have a lot in common with that. And
by the way, I saw Korel last week.
Did you? Oh, we're going to talk about that too. Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw him last week. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. And Frank graduated with his brother Timur, class of 87.
Oh yeah, Timur. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you are having an issue with your air conditioning unit, or when it's wintertime, you're having an issue with your heater, whatever the case is, call SNS Climate Systems. 412-660-5563. And the website is sandsclimatesystems.com. It's just that easy. Okay, Joey, you ready to go?
I think so. We'll give it
Hey,
a second.
let's talk about Korel right away. He was in town last week at Mr. Small's, right?
Yeah. He was doing it was a Monday night acoustic cafe.
Yep.
I think he did 3. Most people do one song. He did about 3 or 4, but yeah, when I went down, saw him and Jerry Busick. Do you remember Jerry?
I remember Jerry. Yep. Very good.
He was
drummer.
my next door neighbor growing up.
Oh,
and
wow.
he was there as well. Yeah. It was nice to see everybody. Yeah.
So you had a loud street then between you playing and Jerry playing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
A lot of kids banging things. Yeah. Drums and everything. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I know Korel most recently was on tour with Rob Thomas and his band.
Yep. Yeah.
They had some gigs in Australia and New Zealand in late November and December.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been in touch.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've been in touch with Korel recently too. I grew up with him in Thornburg, so I know the entire Tunador family. If you remember Ton, he graduated in '85. He's good friends with my brother Billy and Jerry. They're still very close friends. So
okay.
Yeah. So what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, Korel, I think I unofficially sort of got him maybe his first professional gig or one of his first professional gigs.
Okay.
He was about 18. I was in a band. We were playing at a club called Anthony's on the South Side. And
I remember that place.
Yeah. Our sax player couldn't make it for that gig. And I called Mr. Rolin. I still call Mr. Rolin, not Clem.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
Yeah. So I said, hey, look at me. He said, oh, give Korel a call. And I said, Korel, because I knew Ton, who was more my age. I said, he's about 18, isn't he? He said, call him. He'll call, So I called Korel. He shows up to the gig. It was sort of a jazz gig. Right. He shows up in a Jane's Addiction T-shirt. And I'm like, okay. But he played his ass. He did a great job. And we played together a lot after that.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, and he went on to Berklee College of Music.
yeah, I wrote him a little
Yep.
recommendation letter for that when he went there.
Oh,
So
nice.
he just said, "Hey,
Alright.
can you give me?" That was what he said. "I need a thing saying that I played some gigs, something to get a scholarship or something like that."
Okay. Okay, cool. So, you talked about, playing down at Anthony's.
Yeah,
So, that's 1990-ish if Crow was 18,
yeah, 90,
and
I believe.
late 80s or
Like
90.
91ish, yeah, I think. Yeah,
91. Okay. All right. So
yeah.
talk about your history of playing. I've seen you play a couple times. You're a great drummer. I love the kit you play on. So let's get into that, man.
Okay. I mean, the very beginning, I started taking drum
Yep.
lessons at Drums in Crafton. It was
Yeah,
just
that's
called
right. Mr.
Drums.
LaFlame. Mr. LaFlame.
Tom LaFlame, yeah, and I think
Yep.
Norm Mitry was always at the desk. You remember
Okay.
a couple of years I was watching the news, and they interviewed this guy. He's like a bigwig at Highmark now, and I'm like, Norm Mitry, that's the guy who used to be at the drum counter, when I was little, a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I studied there for years with a couple different guys, Jack Deaney, yeah, whatever, Gyps. But then as far as, and like you say, the high school played in concert band, marching band, then the stage band
Hmm.
under Joe Peakey. And then when he
Yep.
retired, Clem Rolin took over.
Right.
Uh, for my senior year in high school, Clem took over. And yeah, and as far as professionally, so my freshman year at Pitt, I got back to my Litchfield Tower, my dorm room, and my
Hmm.
roommate said, "Hey, your mom called. You're supposed to call her." I said, "Okay." No cell phones back then, so I called my mom at home. She said, "Mr. Roland's trying to reach you." I said, "Okay." I called him up. He said, "Hey, I have a gig this Saturday at the 20th Century Club in Oakland. Can you play it?" I said, "Sure." And long story short, I ended up joining Clem's band when I was 18, and played for them all through college. So
I never knew
instead of
that.
bus instead of being a busboy at Red Bull Inn, making
Right.
what I figured, I was making way better money playing gigs every
Yeah.
weekend. So I never went to a single frat party or socialized in college. I was playing every weekend, which I'm
Wow.
glad. I'm glad about that.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the start. I don't know how far you want to go,
Hey, it's up to you. It's up to you because these stories are always very interesting. That's what I like to get into
yeah,
is the root of everything.
yeah. I mean, like when I was at Pitt that freshman year, I tried out for the jazz, the stage band under Nathan
Hmm.
Davis, and I got in that, and Nathan was pretty rough on me. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stories about that. He called me Junebug. I was always Junebug, and but it was good. It was hard love, but it was good.
Right.
But at the end of that freshman year, we were rehearsing, and in walks this guy, and he sits down, and Nathan says, "Hey, you two drummers, let this guy play the kit." And it was Roger Humphreys who came
Oh,
in,
yeah. Right.
and so met Roger and started taking lessons from him. And then he said, "The way you're really going to learn, come watch me play." So he would play every Friday at Hemingway's in Oakland,
Yeah. Right.
trio with Keith Stebler and Robbie Klein. So every
Okay.
Friday I'd go there and watch him and blah, blah, blah. Um, kind of the footnotes. I moved to LA in '89 for
Hmm.
about a year. And when I was there, I went to a bar one night. There was a band called Wishful Thinking, and I knew that David Garibaldi was their drummer.
Right.
Because I followed him from Tower of Power. And
Hmm.
on his break, I walked up at the bar and I said, "Hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm from Pittsburgh. Do you give lessons?" And he said to the boy, "Hey, give me a napkin." He wrote his name and number on a napkin. He said, "Call me on Monday." So I called him on Monday, and he gave me directions to his house in Canoga Park, north of
Okay.
LA, I think north of LA, I don't know. And I took lessons from him for about 2 months, maybe like 6 or 7 lessons. But I say it no matter that dude, he turned everything around for me. I mean, just I don't want to get boring, I think, but like how
No,
you
no, this is
approach
good.
your 4 limbs like work dynamically, like your bass drum should be mezzo forte, the backbeat's this, and you throw in a go. Just basically finding a balance to make the kit sound good. And then I was at a kit, and he sat on the kit to my left, and we started playing just the most basic beats you could imagine. But with these things he was telling me, all of a sudden it sounded what I was playing sounded way better than it ever did before. Just it was
Wow.
like when you take the training wheels off a bike and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, here it is." Here's
Right,
how you
right.
do it, so anyways, that was huge, yeah. And then when I moved back to Pittsburgh, that's why I started I did the gigs with Clem, all through college and stuff. But
Right.
when I got back here, started playing other gigs, and you meet this person, you meet that person, it just starts expanding and expanding.
Yep,
So,
yep.
yeah.
How'd you get hooked up with everybody in Pittsburgh when you came back? Like, what?
Okay, so the first band I played that came back for Pittsburgh was called What If, and that was my high school friends, guys I already knew and had played with.
Okay.
We kind of dissolved, broke up, whatever, after a year and a half, and I played with this band called Four Corners, and a guitar player named Jim Petroff, who sadly has passed away, and his
Yeah.
cousin Ron played sax, and
Mhm.
we did gigs for about a year, and then we broke up. Long story short, we got a call from that. We used to play at the Balcony in Shadyside. You probably
Oh,
remember the
yeah.
Balcony. It was a legend.
I do.
And we only played there a few times, but they called us back to do another gig, but we were minus our bass player didn't want to do the gig.
Mhm.
So I was in a band at that time called Hipster Doofus with Phil Harris. And I
Okay.
said, and he was rooming with a guy named Randy Venturini, a bass player. And
Mhm.
so Phil said, well, ask Randy Venturini, he'll do it. And I used to go see Randy with a band called the Dave Harger Group, who we all loved back then. So I was a little intimidated to call him, but I called him up. He said, "Yeah, I'll do the gig." So we do the gig. This does go somewhere, by the way. A
Yeah,
few
yeah,
months, we
yeah.
did one gig, and a few months later, I got a call from a guy named Nick Dialoso, and he said, "Hey, we're looking to audition drummers, and Randy Venturini gave me your name." Okay. So I did that audition with Nick and his band called Late Edition, and I got the gig. And that's really when I met Scott Anderson was on keys.
Yep.
Um, Kenny Karsh was on guitar. Kurt
Oh, yeah,
Lawrence was
he
on.
taught at Duquesne, Kenny
Yes,
Karsh, I
yeah,
know him.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, big time.
Yep, great
Yeah, he
guy,
was on
great guitars.
guitar. Yeah, and Kurt Lawrence was on bass. And just I'm speaking obvious here. Once you start playing with certain people, other people you meet, and then somebody needs a drummer here, and it just sort of
Mhm.
blossoms or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the best way I could say it. Just from Late Edition, it branched out to like Kenny Blake. I would play with him from there, and
Oh,
all these different
wow.
people.
Right.
Um, it's just word of mouth, I guess you'd say.
You played a gig this summer, and it seemed like we had all the heavy hitters of Pittsburgh playing.
Oh, a
Um,
couple weeks ago, yeah, Rick
yeah.
Wachowski,
Yep.
yeah,
I know
Scott
Rick, yep.
Blasey, yeah,
Yep.
uh, Kelsey Barber was on there. Jeff Jimerson, who does the
Oh,
Penguins, he
yeah.
was on it.
Yep.
Joe Gruschecky was on it,
Yep.
and Melinda Kalasi. Jogging my memory here, but yeah, that was a fun gig, fun gig. Yeah.
I'll bet, I'll bet. Um, so playing a gig like that, you get the songs ahead of time so you can just rehearse at home and jazz
Yeah,
around
when
and
when Rick called me, Rick Wachowski, he calls up, "Hey, I got this gig at the end of June. It's in the afternoon, so if you have a night gig, you can still do this one." I said, "Sure." He's like,
Mhm.
and he said, "I'm gonna send you about 30 some songs." He said, "But you do those ramble gigs, so I know you learn a lot for those. So you can learn 30 songs." I'm like, "Yeah, send them over." Now, a lot of them I already knew, but there were some originals from some of these artists I had to learn and this and that. Oh,
Right.
John Beelan from Gene the Werewolf. He was another one that
Oh, okay,
he
okay.
was one of the guys singing too, yeah.
Right,
So,
right.
what I do is, like, if you give me the songs ahead of time, I'm on the I live in a condo, so I can't bang a kit and put and listen, so I put on the Pirates or the Penguins, and I
Yeah.
mute the button, I put in my earbuds, and I just sorta I do this for the rambles, whatever, I write everything out and make cheat sheets for myself
Okay.
until I get it in my head, then I just throw it away and just try to do the gig, that kinda thing.
Right, right. It's
It's just
amazing
kinda like
stuff.
driving it into my head.
Yeah. I think the last time I saw you play, it was a couple years ago, and it was at, one of the hotels in what part of Beaver County? Beaver Valley Mall. You were filling in for Alan Fear, and it
Oh.
was
Oh,
yeah. Yep,
Jackson's, in,
Jackson's
Monaca, I think it is,
in
yeah.
Monaca.
Yeah.
And so that was, I call him Mr. Jaworski
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he taught at Moon, and he actually auditioned my son, Gosh, Brandon was probably in 6th grade going to the middle school and wanted to play drums, so he auditioned Brandon, accepted him, and he was Brandon's, percussion teacher up until when I guess when he retired or
Okay.
whatever the timeline was, and then he had Alan Fear, Mr. Fear,
Yeah.
for percussion, and Brandon did the same thing you did. He was marching band, he was on a drum line, he was in a concert band, and, one of the other bands, I can't remember, that you performed inside at the auditorium at Moon Area High School,
Yeah.
and so it's kinda interesting how the local Pittsburgh music scene is actually bigger than we give it credit for,
Yeah, yeah. I'll hear some people say,
and
"Oh, there's no mention out there." I said, "You have to get out. You have to go, and there's music out there, you just have to
there's
go
a
out and
lot
see
of
it."
music out there,
Yeah,
and it's not so much about, uh, getting all these bands started that originate in Pittsburgh and have them winning Grammys and stuff like that.
yeah,
It's about just getting together and playing. It's about getting together with your friends and watching, you and other bands and everybody play. And, that's always a fun night out, number 1.
yeah.
But, at the same time, Pittsburgh did put out some pretty good product.
Yeah, I'll
Going
say.
back, is it the Skyliners, I guess,
Yeah,
Um, and then, you got the Jaggerz, they're all from Beaver County.
yep,
Donnie Iris was from
y
Elwood City.
yep,
Um, and then we have the Clarks, obviously.
right.
Joe Gruschecky, the Houserockers. Back then they were the Iron City Houserockers
My
back when my
uncles
oldest
used to
brother
go see them all the time at the Decade, yeah, when I was a kid,
Yeah,
yeah.
and my brother Bobby worked a lot of their shows. He knows, he's old friends with Joe, and, so it goes back. It goes back a
And
pretty
he
long time,
Yeah,
and it's just that's what I'm trying to get to with, getting back into talking about the local music scene. Whenever we talked, I'm like, I need to do more of these. So I really appreciate you coming on and doing this. But
yeah, yeah,
they had their influences, obviously. I would imagine the Jaggers, they got jagged, if you will, when the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show, you
yeah,
know, because
yeah.
that's when everybody started like, I'm gonna get a guitar, I'm gonna get a drum kit.
Dude,
It turned
I used to
everything it turned everything on.
yeah. When I was in high school, I Modern Drummer magazine would get once a month, I'd get it, and all Max Weinberg, Terry Bozzio, all those drummers of that age, every single one. I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and
Yep.
that spurned how many guys to play music, the
Right.
Beatles, coming to
Right.
a quick thing, like we're mentioning Pittsburgh, not to change the subject, but
No, that's
on a
okay.
jazz front, Art Blakey, Kenny Clark, you know, Billy Strayhorn, Earl Fatha Earl Gardner. I mean, there's so many. I mean, we have bragging rights, Pittsburgh, when it comes to the jazz artists that come out of the city, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
and that goes back to Wiley Avenue.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
And a lot of people don't realize that, Wiley Avenue, the Hill District, was one of the main hubs for jazz music.
absolutely. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
legendary. Yeah.
Anybody who was everyone came and played there,
Yep.
you know? And I would
Yeah.
love to actually start studying that whole like, go and taking the deep dive, going into the rabbit hole to study the history of that because it's so what I know is a very, very interesting
Ye
history,
Yeah.
but but I just can't imagine how great those gigs would have been,
Yeah.
you know?
To be in the club and seeing like Art Blakey play, I mean, just yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Right. Right. And then that takes you into the '50s, and we had a little bit of a doo-wop scene here. And
Yeah.
then, the Jaggerz formed in the mid-60s, I'm guessing because of the Beatles. I'll ask Jimmy Ross next time I see him, or I'll shoot him a note and say, "Hey, is that what got you started?"
Yeah.
And then we talked about the '70s. I mean, we left out Diamond Rio, we left out Norm
Yeah.
Nardini, the Tigers into the '80s, and then, and then we, who was the band? Oh my gosh, or Michael,
Silencers. The Silencers were
not
early
the
'80s.
Silencers, I should have researched this before because I didn't know we were going to go into this. I'm very, very unscripted when I do these episodes.
That's good. Me too. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't like to follow scripts, and I'm looking, and I'm starting to stutter when I'm trying to read. They opened for the Grateful Dead in '95 at
Oh,
Three Rivers
Rusted Root.
Stadium. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That'd be the
And
'90s.
they hit it really big. They went national.
Yep.
The Clarks really got big in the early '90s. That was the first time I saw them, and it was the loudest concert I've ever been to. I
Oh, really?
swear to God. Yeah, because
Wow.
it was at Metropole, and there were probably about 100 people there. And they were phenomenal for starters, okay? And they're
Yeah.
still phenomenal.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but that was definitely the loudest show I've ever been to. And I walked out, my ears were ringing, there's no question
Okay.
about that. And then we've kind of hit like this national law of rock and roll, but rock and roll is not dead. I know there's bands playing left and right,
Oh, yeah.
so where is the Pittsburgh music scene today? Like, is it strong? We kind of talked about this a little bit a couple of minutes ago, but how's the local music scene doing, Joey? Is it still strong?
Phew, I guess I'm probably, I'm a sideman guy. So I just tell, like, I'm not, as far as I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody in their 20s,
Right.
and it's so different from when I came up because things are like Spotify, people for
Yeah.
streaming, and
Right.
it's just different than I remember, so I feel like what these guys are trying to get to, is it to get on Spotify or whatever, because do people make records anymore or album? I know they do. I'm saying that sort of
Right.
rhetorically. Like, it's just,
Right.
yeah, but I mean, there's definitely places to play, and
Yeah.
that part of it's still going strong. But I just feel
Hey,
it's not like the old days. Yeah, it's just not,
no,
So,
no. But who I had on my show, one of my earlier episodes, one of my first episodes, Byron Nash,
okay.
Nashville. I don't know if you've seen him play or not, if you know about him.
I know about him. Yeah, I never met him, but I definitely know about
He is an incredible guitarist.
him. Okay.
He plays a lot of like lead. His solos are unbelievable. He played at the tribute for Ozzy Osbourne that they had, I guess, at the end of 2025. And I think that show was in McKees Rocks, at
Okay.
the Roxy and Theater, and he was chosen to play. They were in the New Year's Eve contest for downtown Pittsburgh, and they were a finalist. I don't know if they were actually voted to play the gig right whenever we reign in the new year in downtown Pittsburgh. But check out Nashville, and
Okay.
it's NASH dot V NAS yeah, it's NASH.V.ILL. So
Okay.
it's a play in words with the city of Nashville and with his last name, Nash.
Okay.
And they play everything. They're playing heavy metal, they're playing R&B, they're playing, they go into, I wouldn't call it rap, but they're just really going into all different genres that they're blending together.
Okay.
And Byron has a great, setup. He has multiple guitars. He seems to be a Fender guy, but he has other guitars too. His rig roundup is excellent, so the guy knows
Okay.
what he's doing. He's
Yeah.
phenomenal, and he's definitely worth a look. So,
No, I
and
definitely heard. Yeah.
hopefully Byron will be watching this at some point, but big shout out to him. And yeah, his rhythm section is great. The woman they have as a lead singer, she can hit every note, and then they have a DJ in the band too.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
they do it all. They do it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hope that they like start making some more noise here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I'll check
Um,
them.
yeah, definitely check them out. So, okay. We talked about the 1980s. That's when we grew up. That's when, music was really changing,
Yeah.
you
MTV
know,
came along.
MTV came along. So, I'm going to throw out a year for you, and
Okay.
you can tell me what you were listening to. How about 1984?
84. I mean, I'll preface this with, I wasn't really, how do I say it? The stuff that was popular on the radio wasn't necessarily what I was really listening to. So I do
Okay.
remember '84, this is what I remember, like, of course, Michael Jackson, Thriller was it had been around for a year or 2, but that and the
Yeah.
Lionel Richie, not that I didn't like, but I wasn't really listening to that. You could define me as a snob back, like, when I was into, like, Mahavishnu Orchestra, like, Birds
Okay.
of Fire changed my life. I was
Sure.
starting into, like, John Coltrane, just listening that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
Miles Davis, and some of that was, like, Clem Rolin, when we had study hall, he would give me a note, so I didn't have to sit in the study hall. I'd come down to the band room with a
Right.
turntable, and we'd play, like, Miles Davis and records,
Oh,
and
wow. That's
so I was
phenomenal.
kinda like, I wasn't in the mainstream what everybody else was listening to.
Right.
I would hear it on the radio, but definitely I was way into, like, yes, I was into prog rock. I mean, to
Mhm.
this day, prog rock might be my yes, old Genesis, Gentle Giant, stuff like King Crimson, that kind of
King
stuff.
Crimson.
I was
Yeah.
way into that stuff, and then Pat Metheny for sure.
Yeah. Emerson, Lake
I
and
remember buying
Palmer.
Pat Metheny American Garage my senior year and just loving it, loving it.
Wow.
So that was
That's
kind
good
of my
stuff.
'84 really, you know.
Yeah. 84 for me would have been Prince and Revolution, Purple Rain, The Cars, Heartbeat City, even though that's like
The Cars, yeah, I did like yeah.
I wouldn't rank that as their best album, but it's
No,
not
no, no,
bad.
no, not at all.
Not even close.
The first 3 are the ones,
Yeah, The
Cars,
Cars,
Candio,
Candio,
and,
and
Pana
Panorama.
Panorama,
Panorama.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, Van Halen was already really big, so 1984
Absolutely,
came
that was
out.
definitely I was listening to them for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go back. I'm gonna go back to 1980. AC/DC, Back in Black, Rush, Moving Pictures, REO Speedwagon, High Infidelity. Um, those are the three that stand out for 1980. Van Halen, Women and Children First.
Okay.
Um, and that's when I started really listening to music a lot. And the Police, Zenyatta Mondatta, that
Oh,
was
I didn't even
1980.
mention, the Police.
Stewart
You know you
Copeland.
know s you know s oh, yeah. You remember where you were when something happened. You remember,
Yeah,
like, when
right.
John Lennon was you remember when you heard John Lennon was whatever,
I do. Yep.
I remember the first time I heard Roxanne, me and my buddies are playing home run derby or whatever, we had a boombox, and
Hmm.
Roxanne came on, and we literally stopped, like, "What is this?" We put the
Yeah.
like, it was so different and as a drummer by then, what was like I was like 12 or 13, so I'd already
Yeah.
been playing, and the moment I heard Stuart Coe, I was like, "This guy is different. This is a badass drummer," if I'm allowed to swear,
Yeah.
badass,
Right.
and I still to this day, one of my all-time favorite drummers is Stuart Coe. I love every
Yeah.
album of theirs, yeah.
I got to meet him.
Me too, yeah.
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 And he chose the Middleton Choir here in Pittsburgh to do this concert, okay? And he was the producer of it. He kind of sort of directed it. So one of my good friends from Duquesne University, his wife sings in the Middleton Choir. And so I went to the first time he came to town. He did an interview with Russ Rose on stage at Mr. Small's. So I met him then, and then I met him again when he did the actual show at the Roxy Theater. And
Okay.
you can tell that he knows he is big shit. He is the
I
big
got a
fish in the
very
small
good quick
pond.
story for you
I
if you
want to
wanna
hear it. I want to hear it.
okay. I know a girl she's older than me by, I don't know, 10 or 11 years. She was at the Decade when the Police played there in '78 or '9.
Yes,
It was a
yes,
legendary
yes.
there was, like, according to her, there was maybe 20 people there, and the police
Uh-huh.
and she obviously got to meet the band. She ended up sorta dating Andy Summers.
Oh
Like, he
yeah, the
was up in New York,
guitarist.
she would go up and hang with him at the Guggenheim, whatever, and she got to hang with them. She's not bragging about it. She's just very matter of fact. She was kinda Andy, they would hang out here and there. And I said, "Well, what were they like when you had" like, she goes, "Oh, we go to a matinee movie." She's like, "Well," she's like, "Sting was a dandy." And I said, "What's a dandy?" She
Mhm.
said, "He would have a shirt on at 10 o'clock in the morning, and by 1 o'clock, he would have a different shirt on. And then
Mhm.
he would always be concerned about how he was dressed, and he was very, like that."
Into his image.
Of course, she liked Andy. I was kind of the guy she was hanging and she said, Storko's like, "My God, the ego on that guy." She said, "He would just
Yes,
come in and just the energy, he would take over the room," and she
that's
kinda thought
him.
he was kinda arrogant, but I think she's come around that he's just that's how he's just a badass dude, It's like
Right.
he doesn't give a shit, It's like so.
Yeah, and we talked about before we went on air here, we talked about how your kit is, in my opinion, it's almost the same kit as Ringo Starr's kit. Okay, the kit you
Yeah.
play, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen? And this was put out years ago. All the drummers, all the known drummers, Stewart Copeland, Dave Grohl,
Chad
um,
Smith.
Chad
Yeah.
Smith, they all did that homage to Ringo Starr.
Yep.
And why the drummer from, oh gosh, there were numerous
Trey
drummers.
Cole, the guy from Green
Trey
Day.
Cole's, Green Day.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. And
Jim
why he
Keltner was one
was,
of them. Yeah.
yes, and why Ringo Starr was such a great drummer.
Yep.
And they were just kind of putzing around on his kit, Ringo Starr's kit.
Yep.
And talking about the fills and how he's a left-handed drummer playing on a right-handed kit, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, Stewart was one of the guys,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But yeah, he's different. He's different.
Yeah.
But it was still cool to say, hey, I met one of the top 5 drummers, top 10 drummers on this planet.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'll be honest with you, when I was talking to him, obviously the ego was, bigger than downtown Pittsburgh, but I wasn't thinking about the police. I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. I was just trying to talk to him,
Yeah.
So, but what got me into the police is the song Don't Stand So Close to Me.
Oh yeah.
Because again, I was 10. It was starting to get airplay on DV and some other stations. I'm like, that was my introduction to the police,
Yeah.
And I mentioned AC/DC. I don't remember my introduction to them. Probably the song Back in Black was on DVD. And REO Speedwagon, the Chris family across the street from me in Thornburg on Princeton Road. They were all big influences in what I listened to because I was at their house so much. Aside from all my older brothers and sisters, my brother Bobby with his massive record collection he had, but yeah, the police to this day is still definitely, I wouldn't call them my favorite band, but one of my top bands, they're go-to to listen
me
to.
Me too. They're if I'm on a desert island, that's one of the bands I want their stuff with me, stranded.
Who else?
I need to hear the police. What's that?
Who else is going to be on your stranded desert island?
Frank Zappa. I'm a huge Frank Zappa fan. I know some people don't like him. I love him.
He's great.
Yeah. The band for sure.
Yep.
Like Levon Howe. Do we have to say it? The Beatles, the Beatles are going to be
of course.
There. Weather Report, fusion band. I would need Weather Report.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yep. Yep.
I could go on for a year. There's so many different things I like, but King Crimson's a big one for me. The first album, In the Court of the Crimson King, to me, that was the birth of prog rock,
Right.
And, but I even like their stuff up through the 80s. Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. I love Black Sabbath.
Oh, yeah. How could you not?
Their first 4 albums,
some of the best ever made.
I agree.
Especially in
they
consecutive.
Don't get the credit
No, especially in consecutive albums produced. Those first 4 are definitely some of the best. They're kind of like, and speaking of that, the Beatles, you can take any 4 consecutive albums that were made.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
They're on a different thing here.
They're here. Everybody else is here.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. The Stones from 68 to 73, everything they made. Phenomenal. The Cars, their first 4 albums.
Their first album is basically the greatest hits. The Car,
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
There's only 2 songs that don't get airplay on that album. It's like,
right. But so debut album, Candy-O, Panorama, and Shake It Up.
Yep.
All 4 in a row. Just phenomenal. Van Halen's first 4 albums.
Yes.
Van
Fair
Halen,
Warning.
Van Halen
I
2.
love Fair Warning, man.
That's their best album.
That's a deep, dark.
That's their best album they ever made. To me, that's when they were at their peak.
I agree.
They were at their
that
peak
was my
with Fair Warning.
Yep.
The best album they made. There's no question about that. Yep. The Doors, you can throw an argument there for them. I mentioned the Stones already. Rush, you can say any 4 consecutive albums they made are great.
Steely Dan.
Steely Dan. I didn't get into Steely Dan until about 10 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Well, when I was a little kid, I didn't relate to their music. I was like,
It's
my older
it's an
brothers.
adult kind of thing. Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
Right. They had like 2 or 3 songs I really liked that I was like, I listened to them any time when I was a little kid. Ricky Don't Lose That Number, Hey
yeah.
19, and I
Reeling in
don't
the Years,
remember.
probably. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, probably
Or
one of
Do It
those.
Again. That was a big hit. Yeah.
Yep. But like when Peg would come on, I'd turn it. Now I blast it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
You
like
know,
Royal Scam. Yeah, their stuff's so great. Yeah,
Asia, yep.
yeah.
And there's others. There's plenty of others that, I'm definitely not including in this
Yeah, I
conversation.
mean, you were asking about, like, certain years. My one friend, he kinda
Mhm.
teased me, like, he's like, "I remember the summer of '85, you were obsessed with, Traffic, the band Traffic," you know,
Yeah.
and he's right. I just got this thing where I was listening to all their album, then the next summer it was Little Feat, you know. I
Okay.
bought, Waiting for Columbus, their live album, which led me to other album, but, yeah, I got obsessed with them for a while. Richie Hayward, their
Yeah.
drummer,
Yep.
one of the most underrated drummers ever, you know. So
Right.
go ahead.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I don't know if you're a YouTuber or not, if you go on YouTube a lot to watch some stuff, but
I'll
Rick
check stuff out.
Beato, I don't know if
Oh,
we
love his stuff, yeah.
he is the best, and he's had every legendary band you can think of,
Yeah,
almost everyone on, his show on
yeah,
various episodes. But I watched the one with it was, John Densmore and Robbie Krieger.
okay.
I don't know if you saw that one or not, but
I didn't see that one,
you have to check it out because they go into how they brought all their influences together to make their music,
yeah,
and I would have never known that, or I would have never picked up on that until that interview, and John Densmore, phenomenal drummer,
oh, yeah.
phenomenal jazz drummer, um and you have to watch it. I mean,
I will, yeah.
it's just great. And then we were texting about, I think, Billy Joel whenever he had Billy Joel on
No, that I
recently.
watched that as more recent some of it, yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
tell us about your story with Billy Joel in Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, this is great.
so we were talking about all the people bands came out of Pittsburgh, and we've yet to hit Pete Hewlett,
I
who
know.
was, I mean, I'll just Carly Simon, Billy Joel, Joe Jackson, Psychedelic
Joe
Furs,
Jackson,
um,
wow.
yeah, he got us in to meet Joe Jackson, yeah, him in the ba
Oh
uh,
my.
but then Novo Combo, he had that band in the
Yep.
early '80s.
Michael Shreve was with him, yep.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, oh, so the Billy Joel, yeah. So
Yeah.
me and Pete for like a couple years, we were saying, man, we got to go over to Scotland someday. He has roots in Scotland on, I think, his mom's side, and my mom's side is Scotch, Irish, and Irish. They're from like
Okay.
Northern Ireland. So it's like, yeah, we got to get to Scotland. So a year, yeah, we never did. Finally, we're going to do it. It's 2018. So we're kind of planning that trip, and then Pete got word. He still keeps in touch with some of Billy's circle or whatever, you know. And he got
Right.
word, say, by the way, we're thinking of going over there in June. Billy Joel's going to be playing in Dublin when we're over there. You want to expand the trip over to Dublin? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
So we planned it all out. So we went to Scotland first, and we did that, and then we took a pond jet. We went over to Dublin, and he got us through his connection, he got us backstage passes, and,
Right.
so before the show, we're backstage, and Pete's talking to all his buddies and people from the band and the road crew and everybody. What's his name? The guy from, Def Leppard, Joe Elliott? Is that the
Joe
singer?
Elliott, the singer.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's walking around there, he was like I'm like, "Well, holy shit," you know? And then Billy came out and came over and gave Pete a hug and this and that, and so they're talking, and we weren't allowed to stay backstage during the performance, so they gave us
Right.
tickets on the pitch. It was a soccer field, so they called it.
Yeah.
So we
Was
were like
that
2
they
rows
play at
back on
Croke
the pitch. Yeah.
were they at Croke Park playing?
I think that was it. I'm pretty sure that I'm
Wow,
not
that's where the
100%,
Steelers
but that
played last
sounds
year.
what's that?
That's where the Steelers played the Vikings
Okay.
last year in Dublin,
That
Croke
was
Park.
probably it. I mean,
Yeah.
but right at the end of backstage, Pete was talking to Mark Rivera, Billy Joel's sax player, and
Mhm.
they're still very tight. And I just remember I heard Mark say to Pete, "Hey, after the show, we're staying at such and such a hotel. Come over for a drink and a potato." He said, kidding around. So the show's over, and I look at Pete and said, you want to go to the bar? And he's like, yeah. And then I remember Pete said, Billy's probably already in his hotel room. When the show's over, he usually pretty quickly goes and just hangs at his hotel room. But,
Mhm.
we can still maybe hook up with some of the other guys. I said, great, So we're walking through Dublin. It's like midnight trying to find this hotel. We get to the
Mhm.
hotel and there's a guy sitting on the front steps. It was one of Billy's, I don't know if he's his manager or something. And him and Pete are talking, catching up. And he said, hey, the boys are downstairs. There's a pub. There's a bar in the pub under the hotel. So we go down, we're walking. I turn left in the bar and there's Billy Joel
No
with his band
shit.
with an acoustic guitar sitting at the bar singing Beatles songs.
Yeah.
And so Pete, while they're all hugging Pete and Pete, and he starts joining in singing with them. And I'm just like, holy, I said to the bartender, give me as many Guinnesses as you could pour, send them over. I'm like,
Yeah.
and we spent
Yeah.
about an hour and a half. They would just pass around the guitar to everybody and pick a Beatles song. And
Wow.
there was maybe, I'm going to say maybe 40 people in the entire bar. It was late at night. It was a little
Mhm.
basement bar. So I just
Mhm.
couldn't even, I said, wait a minute, it's Saturday night. I'm in a basement pub in Dublin with Billy Joel singing Beatles songs, passing on the guitar. I was like, this is never going to happen again. Like it was just unbelievable,
Did Pete get the guitar? Was it his turn at one
I'm
point?
pretty sure he did. I mean, they were just passing it around in a circle.
Yeah.
Here you go,
I'd love to know what
uh,
Pete's what if Pete had the guitar, I'd like to know what he sang, what song he was
yeah, I can't, I
selecting.
mean, they were singing, I mean, you name it, all the early stuff with the harmony, the love me, the stuff. They weren't doing like I Am the Walrus, stuff like that. It
No,
was the
no, no.
early pop stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. How
It was a
cool is
blast, an
that?
absolute
How
blast.
I remember seeing your pictures on Facebook and like, oh my God, Joey, what,
I
this
know.
doesn't happen to a
You know,
lot of people.
no. And like when we went, I knew we were flying over, like, yeah, there's a good chance we'll get to see the concert, maybe get back, but never in
Yeah.
my mind that we'll end up in a pub, after the show for an hour and a half, hanging out, singing Beatles
And you
songs.
got
It
to
was like,
meet him, and you got to meet him.
yeah, yeah,
Yep. That's
yeah,
phenomenal. And he's another one that have to be on the desert island,
yeah, yeah,
because he's got multiple 4 consecutive records he put out that are just, again,
yeah,
phenomenal pieces of work,
yeah,
without
absolutely,
question.
yeah.
I never saw him play live.
Oh, okay.
I never saw him play live. I don't know why, I just didn't.
Yeah.
It's not because I didn't want to, it's just that,
It
either
happened, like,
there was a conflict or, "Oh, it's gonna
yeah.
sell out right away, I'm not gonna try, I'm not gonna bother getting tickets," but it's a regret.
That's me
It's a
with the
regret.
Stones. I never saw the Stones live, and I
Same
love the
here.
Stones, but it just never happened for some reason,
Same
It's like,
here. Same
you know,
here.
yeah.
And then the last time they came to Pittsburgh, I'm like, I can't imagine it's gonna be that good. They're older."
Yeah,
And then I read the music reviews and they were killing it.
right. Steve
It's
Jordan's
like,
on drums
okay.
now, and it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, music is a big thing for me. It's like up there with sports, it's up there with geography, it's up there with travel. And it's just one of those things, Joey, where if I'm having a bad day, I
yep,
know what to put on.
exactly.
If I'm
You're right.
having a great day, I know what to put on.
Yep,
And there isn't a single day that goes by where I don't have music playing in the background. And it
yeah.
doesn't matter the genre. I just don't listen to country music. I don't hate it. It's just that nobody listened to it in my household growing up. Okay. And all my
Yeah,
friends in Thornburg, nobody was into country music. I know it's big now. It's made a big comeback and I think it's great.
yeah,
And I've seen a couple of like local bands playing country the last couple years, and they're phenomenal. It was great. I mean, I was into it, but I'm not going to listen to the country music station here in Pittsburgh. I'm not going to listen to the country music genre on Spotify or anything, or
right.
pulled up on YouTube.
Yeah,
It's just not my cup of tea. But it's still great music. Heck, I was in Nashville with my wife and 3 other couples in 2018. We went to the Country Music Hall of Fame. It was phenomenal. It was
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's not like I don't like it. I think it's great. I just don't listen to it, if
I'm
that
like,
makes any sense.
yeah, I'm I'm very like, I'm George Jones, Louvin Brothers, Willie Nelson, Ray Price, Conway Twitty. I love because my mom
Sure.
loved that.
Okay.
I don't wanna say, and if I'm not into the new country, what they call bro
Right.
country.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't.
No, same
The way
here.
it's
Same
produced and
here.
recorded, it's like all here is I just nah. That's just me. I'm sorry if I offend anybody.
Oh,
But I
I don't
love
care.
the old traditional
I'm
stuff.
just being honest.
Yeah, that's my
Um,
honest, yeah. I
Yeah,
played with
and
Corbin Hanner. They're a country band, but
sure.
it was that older style country,
But
like,
that's that I would say, I do like the older country like you mentioned too. Um, I have I don't classify Johnny Cash as country. He's more, rockabilly because he came from that era. I love
yeah,
Johnny Cash.
yeah.
I love Hank Williams, the dad,
Oh, Hank Williams, yeah.
Um,
Come on,
I
yeah.
have I have all I have their entire catalogs on my Spotify. And that's probably about it. I like the old school.
Yeah,
Johnny Cash is one of my favorites actually. I mean, how could you
okay.
not? I hear him singing and it stays on, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But that's about it for me, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, I really, just appreciate you coming on. Do you have any final thoughts? Any gig? What are some of the gigs that are coming up that you're playing and where at?
Um, well, I just played at the German club last night, the Manicore,
Yeah, that
over
place is
in
great.
yeah,
Yeah,
man, I got introduced to a new beer that I can't Helles, Helles, Weinbach and something, but anyway, it was good, but,
yeah.
um, I'm playing next Saturday, it's a private party thing with a couple bands, and,
Okay.
I'm playing with Pete Hewlett, and Scott Anderson is a
Yeah.
trio. We've
Yep.
played together, since 1999. We're playing it in
Right.
South Fayette, 2 weeks from today during the afternoon.
Okay.
It's a festival there. Now I'm playing with a band called The Good Guys, Joe Marone and company.
I know Joe. He's been
Oh,
on
you
my
know Joe Marone?
podcast.
Okay.
Joe is
Um,
great. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's August 29th, I think. That we're gonna do, this is down the road, but we'll do another ramble. We're gonna do the Last Waltz again in November at the Mr.
Okay.
Small. Every November, we do the Last Waltz in its entirety. And
Right.
this year happens to mark the 50th anniversary of the concert from 1976, so
1976.
we'll
Yeah.
definitely be doing that again, and we'll have our QED. We used to do a show on QED live from Studio A.
Hmm.
Um, we do a Christmas show every year. We're doing that, of course, this year, Christmas. Scott Anderson runs that, and we're gonna do the Christmas show in December. That's a big I would recommend people come to that if you like Christmas music,
Sure.
yeah. It's a great
Yeah.
band. It's just I feel lucky to play. I sit there, I look around the horn section, everybody, I'm like, "I don't necessarily belong here," but it's great, play with
Yeah.
everybody. So
Yeah. So when Joe Monroe was on, he was on. Do you know David Buffalini? Have
oh,
you ever
Joe
met him?
Monroe, okay. I'm
Yeah.
saying Joe Marone. Yeah, Joe Monroe's the keyboard player, singer, yeah.
Yeah. That's Joe Monroe's who I had on my
He's with the
podcast.
Ghost
So
Hounds, yeah, yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, I just
But
played with him a week or 2 ago, I think, yeah. Him and Katie Simone, yeah,
right.
yeah.
So he lives up the street, and I think he's in Center Township. He's in Beaver County, and
Yeah, he is in that
they
area, yeah.
they do a fundraiser. It's all organized by David Buffalini, who's a trumpet player. He's played with B.E. Taylor's brother Dan,
Okay.
and Dan's daughters, and Jeff Jimerson. You mentioned Rick Witkowski, Hermie Granati, all these guys. Okay, and I met them through when Brandon was at Moon Area High School. They did a fundraiser for the Moon Area School District music program.
Okay.
Obviously, Alan Fear was there. Mr. Barthen, Jason Barthen, who's the director of the band, and Brandon got to play with them on stage. Okay,
Okay.
and same with a lot of the other kids. They had Brandon in the drum line. They had like their horn section. They had the choir, and they all did a bunch of songs together. And that's when I met all those guys. I don't know.
Okay.
Joe didn't play that one, but David Buffalini did. And
Okay.
then David does a Christmas concert at Hopewell Area High School, and that's the same thing. It's a fundraiser for Hopewell's music program. So you're talking, Joe Monroe. David's a trumpet player, by the way. Very good
Yeah.
trumpet player, obviously. Rick Witkowski, Hermie Granati, B.E.'s brother Dan, Dan's
Yeah.
daughters, and just a whole slew of other local musicians, and
Yeah.
Mary Hours, who does the weather,
Oh, the news.
KDKA.
He makes me
She's
weather
a
alert.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal singer. So she
Okay.
performed with them. So these Christmas concerts are great because you're getting the best of everybody, to perform, and it's all great music, and it's always, going to a good cause too. So Joe, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, can you text me all the gigs that you mentioned, because I'm going to put that in the description.
Okay.
Whenever I post this on YouTube and Facebook and everything, because I
Okay.
want to get people out there to come out and check out all the local bands playing, you included, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, one more question for you.
Yeah.
You're gonna grab a Beatles album, and you're only gonna listen to one today. Which one's it gonna be?
One tune
Oh
or
no,
one
one
album?
album. One
Okay.
album.
Jeez. uh, I just need a second here. Can it be a tie between two albums?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. It's going to be Revolver or Abbey Road.
Okay.
It'd be between those two. I know a lot
Okay.
of people are more Rubber Soul. I'm more Revolver than Rubber Soul. I just think Revolver has it all,
It
Tomorrow
does.
Never Knows,
Oh,
Taxman,
yeah.
you know, And Your Bird Can Sing. And I play in a Beatles band.
Mhm.
We do some of those deep tracks like And Your Bird Can Sing. We'll do Savoy Truffle off the White Album, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that I
Yeah.
would say Revolver or Abbey Road. One of those two would be my choices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's gonna be the White Album.
Okay. The great.
It's 'cause
There's
I
no
haven't
wrong.
listened to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
'cause I haven't listened to it in a long time. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm gonna start editing this. I'm also doing my own plug here, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Those
Absolutely.
are, John Lennon always made comments about plugging stuff all the time.
Yeah.
That was his big thing. But I started putzing around on OpenAI ChatGPT. I've been using it for a pretty long time, actually. And I was just like curious about how certain players in the NFL are going to perform this year, and wanted to get, the whole
Yeah.
artificial intelligence, thing going on. And I started putting in other players, and then I'm like, damn it, I'm going to create my own draft kit. And then I'm going to create my own league packet that can be tailored to any fantasy league out there. Okay. And that's what I've been working on feverishly these last couple weeks. And now I have it. I had to do 3 different versions today of the actual draft kit. And I think I have it to where I want it to be,
Yeah.
and we're getting into every detail that you can think of, a wide receiver, say it's CeeDee Lamb, and say they're playing the Washington Commanders next week. Okay. What are their tendencies versus, a
His
receiver
skill
like
set
CeeDee Lamb?
or
Yeah,
yeah.
what are his tendencies with his routes and all that kind of stuff? What's going to be his expected, passes thrown to, passes catch, yards after catch, all that kind of stuff. Do they have a premier shutdown corner that's going to just like shut him out of the game? All that kind
Right.
of stuff. So it
Yeah.
feeds all that into the supercomputer that I developed, this big algorithm that I'm doing. So, so I've been working on that, but I'm going to start editing on, this episode.
Yeah.
And I'd like to have you come back on. We got to do just a Beatles
Yeah, we could do a
episode,
deep
if you don't
dive.
mind. We got to deep dive
Absolutely.
it. Any
Yeah.
band that you want to deep dive with, let's do it.
We should bring in Scott Anderson when we do the
That would be
Beatles. We need him
great.
to he knows every detail of every recording session of the Beatles more than I do. It would be a great episode.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. All right,
Yeah.
let's make that happen. So
Okay.
when I get this up on YouTube, on my YouTube channel at
Okay.
Phil's Place page, and on my my other socials, I should say, there'll be a link for this episode. I'll obviously tag you, but
Yeah.
if Scott doesn't care, I'll tag him, because you mentioned him. I don't know if he wants to be tagged or not. Pete Hewlett, I'm friends with. I'm tagging him, you
Okay.
know. So
Yeah.
hopefully they don't mind, just because you mentioned their names. And
Yeah, those 2 are I played more gigs with those 2 people than anybody else in my entire I can't even imagine how many gigs we played together, it's just
well,
crazy.
and then I'm going to put your future gigs you just talked about. I'm going to, tag them for that reason too. So people go to South Fayette to see your show. And
Okay.
remind me of the date and time. It's next Saturday, you said, right?
Yeah, well,
It's South Fayette.
next Saturday's that private thing. What's today?
Oh yeah, the Saturday
Today the
after.
8th, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking at okay, so the 22nd is the South Fayette one, yeah.
I'd like to come down for it.
Okay,
Yeah, for
sounds
sure.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have some friends that live there. I'll get them to come out too. So,
sounds
all
good.
right, Joey Waslousky, thank you very much for coming
Thanks for
on.
having me.
Yeah, this was
Thank you.
great. It was great catching up with you, and we'll do it again. I'll be there to see you play a future gig.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
You enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will definitely be staying in touch. Okay, very good.
I'm going to head to Millville and help my daughter at her new apartment.
Oh, okay. Good luck with everything.
She's moving in today. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'll let you go.
No, it's all good. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you, man.
Take care, Joey. Thank you.